Yes, it's 10 minutes past 10 in the city of Abuja, and it's Insights on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Umoette. It's certainly interesting times that we are in. Political players have their hands full. It's about getting the coveted trophy, keys to the different elected offices. Expectedly, attention is mostly focused on the presidential election. But there are other equally vital offices built for contest. On Insight today, we're exploring the unfolding events ahead of the elections, the slip-ups by candidates, the media spinning by the political parties, the pressure by the election umpire, and other interesting and, well, sometimes worrying developments. And I have two guests on Insight today. One of them is physically present in the studio, and the other one joins us on phone. First, the one in the studio, Amadine Uyi. Amadine Uyi is a senior broadcast editor and also the Abuja bureau chief for News Central. Amadine, welcome to Insight.
Thank you, Lawrence.
It's good to have you. Yes, and I also have Victorson Agbenson, who is also another senior broadcast editor, is joining us on phone. Victorson, thank you for joining us on Insight.
Lawrence, thanks for having me today.
Yes, and your brother Madin is also here.
Yes, he's my good brother. We've been in the political talks together, doing the work.
Exactly, and Amadine and I also come a long way right from our reporting days. Victorson, let me start with you first. It's 4 months to the election. You are, apart from, I know that you are a senior editor, but you are also a field man. You know, once a field man, always a field man. So 4 months,
Yes.
4 months to the election. Generally, what have you seen so far?
We've seen the normal campaigns, normal alignment and realignment of forces by the dramatic personae led by the candidates who are bent on getting the best advantage position so that they can clinch the seat, the coveted seat, particularly the presidential seat. However, there is a sort of a new twist to what is happening. How will I call it now? It may be mere allegations, but from the body, as they call it now, body language of the main contenders, there seems to be a sort of move by them to place less emphasis on open campaigns, and they seem to be reaching out more one-on-one with those who they think that can actually help them sway the tide in their favor. That's what I've read so far.
Okay, Victorson, will come back to you. Amadine, over to you. You have been you are experiencing election coverage over the years with all the attendant risk and everything. But from what you've seen so far, in terms of processes, in terms of activities of the political players, do you think this election is going to be anything different from what we've seen in the last 10, 15 years, in terms of preparation, in terms of activities of the political parties?
Okay, Lawrence, if we, just as you have asked this question, it would be nice to reflect back at the recent elections that happened in Osun, Ekiti, reflect back to the 2019 general elections. You will find out that the approach of politicians and political parties to elections has gradually begun to change. Why did I say so? Right now, remember those days, it used to be civil society groups that will have a situation room. Right now, every political party have their own internal situation room. Victorson talked about the political class trying to reach out one-on-one. Now, what they do in this situation room is that from the situation room is like a command and control center where they monitor their movements. They have these door-to-door campaigns where they have people who are like foot soldiers who go on the streets, try to convince Nigerians, try to get them. So, unlike before, you just see political parties run jingles, run adverts on TV stations or radio stations and believe that at the point of collation, a lot of wonders. Wow. But since INEC has begun to tighten the system, you know the saying that they said the hunter said that since Aneke has learned how to fly without perching, he now has to learn how to shoot
without missing.
Shoot without misses. That is exactly how it is, because the electoral body has come out to say it's not business as usual. First of all, they introduced the smart card reader. After then, they introduced the beavers. And I covered Osun election, I covered Ekiti election, and with the application of the beavers, the by modal voter registration and accreditation system, it's it's almost impossible to read, except the political class perfect the system again, because the system must evolve, it must metamorphose. Why INEC must try to put, the work of INEC is to put in measures to ensure that the elections are not rigged. But we also have the political riggers who, this is their profession. Their work is to ensure that they rig the election. So INEC, on the other hand, is always trying to be a step ahead. Then it now trickles down to the major players, the major candidates, the political parties. What are they doing? What is their preparation? So you see, over time, they have begun to change their approach to election. They have their situation room. They have different groups that go on the field, try to convince voters, try to get, Nigerians had always wanted a third force, because they said they were tired of just the two major players, APC and PDP, and the other political parties trudging along. But now we have seen a third force in the candidacy of Obi. The question is, how much will he be able to offset the system? Election is not judged by social media. We have seen that the different political parties have their own regional strongholds. PDP is very strong in the southeast and in the south-south. Nigerians should not just assume that PDP will just sit down and watch and another person come and take away, remove the carpet from under their feet. So they have their foot soldiers who are working. The other parties, the APC also, they have their strongholds and are believing that with the Muhammadu Buhari influence and the Asewaju influence in the north and in the southwest, they can hold those two regions and see how they can also get vote from the other regions. Then we also have these undecided voters who were tired of the system. A lot of them have aligned themselves along the Labour Party presidential candidate. So the election is going to be interesting. One thing I know, the electoral body has assured Nigerians that there will be no rigging. It will be free, it will be fair. Just as we are speaking, INEC is having a meeting with political parties. Throughout this week, they will begin to meet with stakeholders, the CSOs, the media to display their plans, that this is what we plan to do, this is exactly how we plan to do it, and this is exactly how we plan to carry out what we plan to do. So the next election is going to be very, very interesting.
Okay, Amadine, we'll come to the issue of INEC and some other details concerning INEC. But let me go back to Victorson. There's been this worrying development in the last couple of days when it comes to issue of violence, issue of aggression, issue of hostility to party members and stuff, especially on rally grounds and sometimes on the social media. Victorson, yes. I want you to react to the issue of hostility and maybe some people will say aggression towards party men and women across the country, across party lines, in relation to the peace accord that was signed recently?
You know that this is not the first time we are signing a peace accord. So the experience is that they will sign a peace accord, but their utterances and actions seem not to be in line with the peace accord they signed. You must have followed the story in a Kogi state of how a politician in the state was abducted. Yes, nobody has been able to come out to say he was abducted for political reasons, but the politicians are using it, saying that it was because he recently decamped from one of the parties to the other. That's why he was abducted. You know, then let's look at the presidential level. You see how presidential spokesmen, governors, are throwing very dangerous tantrums at each other. I was very, very shocked when a governor of a state, I know Lawrence, you don't want me to mention names.
No. It's in public domain. It is a media event. It was.
The Edo State governor. That happened to be my governor. It was unfortunate that he came out to say that if APC wins the next election, Nigeria will split. How do you classify that kind of a statement? So it is setting an evil agenda, a negative agenda that, okay, you know what happened in 2015. You know the tension that God had to work on the mind of the then sitting president, Goodluck Jonathan. There were people who were bent on who were saying that if the PDP wins that election, that means they have rigged it, and therefore Nigeria should burn. That kind of mentality is very wrong. So signing the peace accord is not enough. Those who control the levers of that peace accord, those who arrange it, by now we should move to the next level of saying if you fall short of the standards expected of you having signed the peace accord, then there should be sanctions. INEC, the responsibility is also on INEC, the umpire. Yes, it has been argued over time that INEC is a toothless bulldog that doesn't have the power to bite. But we should begin to look at those areas that because of elections, people should not jeopardize the unity and stability of the country. Because after the election, we will still have a country to govern, we still have a country to live in. So those are the issues we have to look at. I know that even the APC that's not in power, they must have learned one or two lessons on how not to campaign. But it's just that the average politician, when desperate for power, forget that there are things you don't do to get power, because at the end of the day, if you get it, you will become a sour grape in your mouth.
Okay, Victor and Amadine. Victorson said something about INEC or whoever enforcing a breach. Is there any institution in Nigeria that has that capacity to enforce breach of electoral offenses currently now?
Right now, there is none. Because I've attended several fora where INEC has come out publicly to say, has told the lawmakers, set up an electoral offenses commission where those who infringe our election will be punished. Remember that when there is no deterrent to an action, you cannot stop that action. If the political class, certain persons among the political class feels that we can rig elections, we can engage in ballot box snatching, we can engage in votes buying and selling, and nothing happens, then we should not be talking about how to stop it. But when there is adequate deterrent to that offense, then you will see people will stop it. That's why there are laws, and that's why we have prisons, and that's why we have courts where if you infringe on the laws of the land. Victorson said something. I want to correct it. He said after the election. No. If there is no country, there cannot be an election. There has to be a country first before we talk about voting for the leadership.
In fact,
yes.
without a country, there cannot even be a political party.
Yes, there can't be a political party. So when certain elements feel that it's all about them, that if it does not go according to their way, then there will be no peace and stability. We should have relevant laws, and we should have agencies that are up to the task, that will be able to come down hard on those personalities to make them know that they are not bigger than the system. We operate a multi-party democracy, which gives every Nigerian the freedom to align with whatever political party. You know, in the last few weeks, in the last few months, we have seen this horde of young Nigerians who come online, engage in cyberbullying. You say you are supporting this candidate, they begin to insult you, they begin to throw invectives, begin to use uncouth language on you to be able to take away that freedom and that confidence where you can come out to say, I support a political candidate. I think some of these people should be made, the example should be made of some of these people so that others will know that, yes, there might be freedom of speech, but when you talk of the laws of libel and others, it makes you know that there's no absolute freedom. There might be freedom of association, but associate with a terrorist group, you go to jail. There might be, in every government, there's no absolute freedom because your right ends where another person's right begins. But what we are calling for is tolerance. This is an election. In the next 4 months, it will be over. And Nigerians will go back to their normal duties and normal activities. And I believe strongly that every Nigerian that throws their weight behind any political candidate wants this country to move forward. It's an act of patriotism to say that I believe this is the candidate that will take Nigeria to the place called there. So when you now begin to say it is only one candidate that can break the chains, or it is only one candidate, you are getting it all wrong. In fact, a presidential candidate can only serve a maximum of 8 terms. And I can
8 years.
8 years. Sorry, that is 2 terms. And I can tell you that there is no country in the world that developed from a developing country to an advanced country in 8 years. That means you can only come, dance at the market square while the music has given you permission to dance, contribute whatever quota you want to contribute, and move on for another person to continue to build where you stopped.
Without destroying the music and the drums.
So we must understand that it's a multi-party democracy we practice, where Nigerians should have their right to support whatever political parties. There are more than 2 political parties, there are more than 3, there are more than 4, there are more than
18.
Yes, 18. And Nigerians should be given the freedom to align wherever they want to align without any sense of intimidation. So this culture where you want to take away people's freedom, you want to introduce violence to ensure that you force people to support the political party you want to you are supporting, is totally wrong. And for elected officials to be the one to be spearheading it is actually very shameful.
Well, it's 10:28 and it's 93.7 Citizen FM. It's Insight, and we are looking at unfolding political events in the polity ahead of the 2023 general election. My guests have been Amadine Uyi, who is Abuja Bureau Chief for News Central, and also Victorson Agbensin, a senior broadcast editor. The two of them have been giving us a practical briefing on what is happening on the streets, because they are foot soldiers. They are bringing us live events, so to speak, of political events happening. Insight will take a short break, and when we return, I will take on Amadine on some issues we need to look at. INEC and the pressures, INEC and what it has ahead of the election. We'll also take a look at some other issues that deals with our value system, holding government officials to account, sustaining our democratic culture, and so many other issues that are at the heart of our polity. Please don't go away. Insight will return in a moment.
Tech Talk with Mina, bringing you news updates on digital technology around us, discussing the latest developments and how technology can enrich you and make your life more exciting. Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, welcome to our world of technology. Every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12. Citizens Tech Talk with Mina, expanding our global reach through technology.
50 years done work and Nigeria still they can't pay oh. It go better, Nigeria still they can't pay. We no break, we no scatter, Nigeria still they can't pay oh. It done better, Nigeria still they can't pay. Where are the Igbos, Hausas and Yorubas? Make we come together, cause we be brothers. Forget the language, cause we resemble oh. Make we live as one no and celebrate. 50 years done work and Nigeria still they can't pay oh. It go better, Nigeria still they can't pay. We no break, we no scatter, Nigeria still they can't pay oh. It done better, Nigeria still they can't pay. It go better, Nigeria still they can't pay. It done better, Nigeria still they can't pay.
Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Most times, people commit one offense or the other due to ignorance and negligence. Some get into one trouble or the other out of ignorance. Wheel of Hope, a human rights advocacy program on Citizens FM 93.7 Abuja, is here to educate you on issues that relate to your fundamental human rights, tenancy agreements, contractual issues, next of kin, and many more. Jide Abdulaziz and his team of legal luminaries will be treating issues that have been giving you stress by providing mediation, intervention, arbitration, and many more. Every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. Wheel of Hope will improve your citizenship responsibility. Wheel of Hope Human Rights Program on 93.7 Citizen FM. The voice for the voiceless and the oppressed. Don't miss it.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's Citizen FM 93.7 and it's Inside. It's 10:33 and my guest in the studio is Amadine Uye, Abuja Bureau Chief for News Central. It's that time in the program that we throw the phone lines open. You can call us on 0903 222 9797. That's on 0903 222 9797. Or you can also call us on 0808 22 037. In the alternative, you can also call us on 0818 222 2205. Any of these numbers, you can also send us a WhatsApp message and we will be glad to read your message. My guest again, Amadine Uye, Abuja Bureau Chief for News Central, and also Victorson Agbenson, who is also a senior broadcast editor. Both of them have been giving us their perspectives on events happening in the political scene ahead of the election. Don't forget, you can also be part of our live stream on YouTube. You can join us by typing in Citizen FM 93.7. Just type in Insight and you will be part of the show. Amadine, I know that you mentioned a few things about INEC, but I want us to look at it in detail now. Now, a few weeks ago, it started like a rumor, that there were some people who were planning to compromise the electoral process. But the fears are becoming real. In fact, I was listening to one of the former REC on TV this morning, and he said that there are cases filed in court attempting to stop the use of beavers. Now, and we all know how beavers has become a game changer in the scene. What's your impression about all this?
Now, just like you said, some characters will try their best to truncate the process because they have seen that Beavers is the I covered Ekiti, I covered Osun, I was on the field, I led the team that covered those elections with my station. It's impossible to rig using the Beavers. Now, what politicians have now resorted to do, if you notice, there was an alarm on over cases of vote buying and vote selling, because that was the only way. Once upon a time, at least we have been in this country where, while election was still going on in some areas, votes were being announced.
Exactly.
But we have moved away from that position now. I don't want to look as if I'm speaking for the electoral body, but I want to speak based on what I have seen on the field. It's important. I have heard cases of them saying they saw some people with permanent voters card. See, those people are only wasting their time. If you like, buy the whole permanent voters card in your community. You cannot use it, because for Beavers it is one man, one vote, and you cannot use another person's voter card, because it will check your thumbprint, it will check your face, facial recognition. There's security features that is just is almost impossible to beat. So that is why right now you are seeing some kind elements. They are thinking they can now subvert the process through the courts, go to courts, and courts should stop the electoral body from using Beavers. But I don't know which court will pass that kind of judgment, because even the judges or the justices test your popularity in the court of law. So let them test their popularity in the court of law. But from my own perspective and position, and from what I have seen, Beavers has come to stay until a time when they are able to beat that the security of the system. They will now look toward the electoral body to bring out a new technology that will now help to ensure that the elections are free, fair, and credible. 2 days ago, a fact-finding team from the ECOWAS Commission visited the commission, visited INEC, and you could see you could feel the confidence where the chairman of INEC told the fact-finding team, led by the former INEC chairman of Ghana. He said, "See, we are going to make these elections free and fair with technology." That emphasis, he said it, with technology. That means the commission is prepared. All those rumors of where you see on social media where they say one politician, they cut in with how many permanent voters card. See, my brother, I am telling you, those people, they are wasting their time. They are just wasting and it is good that they are wasting that money, because if not, they will not even have opportunity to give those poor people money. The only problem is that they just deprive them of going to vote. But when you carry your hard-earned money and give to people that you want to buy their permanent voters card with Beavers, I'm telling you, it's a waste of time.
Okay, Ahmadine, since you brought in the issue of court, now there's been this recurring scenario during election cycle. You'll find out there are pre-election matters, and they are not dispensed with till after the election. Sometimes, although it has reduced, I remember that in the past, some 10 years ago, you had somebody spend 3 years in office only for such a person to be thrown out and everything. But still, just as late as yesterday, a court in Port Harcourt, River State, virtually threw out all the APC candidates, just like what happened in 2019, I guess. Now, my concern is, why do we let the court, so to speak, why do politicians abdicate the role of the electorate? Why do they try to make sure that the court replace the electorate by not doing what is right in the first place? Now, I know that the Electoral Act gives parties 180 days to resolve pre-election matters in the court of first instance, another 60 days in the court of appeal, and then in Supreme Court. And all this is because politicians have refused to play by the rule of their game.
Now, that Rivers State issue is a very worrisome issue because 2019 election, the APC could not field a candidate, and those who are going back to courts, the intent is not even whether they were not playing by the rules. But now, just like I said, politicians have so many ways of trying to achieve one objective. And from the last elections where we saw the court 2019, it happened in Rivers, it happened in Zamfara, and the rest. I think there are some elements are saying that it is possible that one of the ways of beating your opponent on the ballot is to ensure that he does not appear on the ballot. I think that is the problem with Rivers. But because there's always an option of appeal. So sometimes, from experience, we have learned that sometimes it is not good to criticize the court because the court will look at facts. But let us hope that the APC will be able to appeal that decision, and a higher court will look at it on its merit and say it will be totally unfair. It would be totally wrong to deprive certain people an opportunity to be able to cast their votes in that state. I saw that judgment and I was worried because a multi-party democracy affords everybody to be able to play the game. And once people are denied the opportunity of playing that game, there is a sense of injustice meted out to those people. We are hoping that the politicians will learn, and therefore the courts too will also sit down and review their own processes and say, no. The politicians are trying to use us to achieve objectives which are not right. Because it is totally wrong to allow any candidate. I was glad a few weeks ago when the Supreme Court threw out several cases that had been on ground regarding the presidential candidates. After the last election, certain people had gone to court citing various reasons why so and so should not be allowed to participate. But about 2 weeks ago, the court threw it out and said, no, let everybody go and test their popularity. This strategy of trying to come to the court to stop certain, if it can happen at the federal level, I think it should be able to happen at the state level. But let's let the courts do their own thing.
Okay, I think we have Victorson on the line. Victorson, are you there?
No.
Okay, Victorson, we lost you for a moment there, and we have been discussing. Yes, we can hear you. Victorson, can you hear us?
Okay, send me.
Oops, I think we're having some issues there. We can hear him, but apparently Victorson cannot hear. We'll try to re-establish contact with our colleague Victorson Agbenson, who is also a senior broadcast editor. Amadi, staying with you. When we look at this issue, sometimes people argue, the courts will say, well, if you guys put your house in order, these cases will not be before us. We only adjudicate because we were invited. Now the recurring question, Amadin, is why is it difficult for internal democracy to be practiced in political parties?
It's just this, like the saying goes, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Unfortunately, our political parties have failed miserably in this aspect. Several even the frontline political parties, we can see the crisis in the PDP. It's is a result of not keeping to agreements. We can also see even the APC also has his own internal crisis. We see what happened during the convention. So it's a problem that it's across political parties. Just a few days ago, the Labour Party suspended its national youth leader. So we see that it's the nature of man to always want to cut corners, especially in a country like ours where a lot of our leaders lack honor. They lack honor. They don't understand what that word honor means. So they think that when they're in a position of authority, they can subvert the law subvert whatever it is to favor them. And then you now see aggrieved people coming out to say it will not work. That was the case of Rivers State, where we had different factions. And it will amaze me that, it still amazes me that when INEC says go and conduct primaries, you see the law is very clear on the modalities for conducting the primary of a political party. But you see people still want to subvert the law and then find legitimacy in what they have done.
Okay, Amadine, I think we have Victorson back on the line. Victorson, are you there now? Hello, Victorson, are you? Victorson, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Okay, I think we're still having issues with that line. So maybe we'll leave it for now. Okay, Amadine, before we go to the next issue, which has to do with financing, monetization of the process, and these are things that you see on the field during election, and it doesn't look as if it's going to abate, although everyone seems to condemn it. So who are the people who practice it? Because I've not seen any political party that has said, oh, as part of our manifesto, we will buy votes or we'll trade in votes and everything. Everybody abhors it, but then it's always done. That's part of it. We'll come back to that. But you can join us by calling us on this number 0903 222 9797. You can also call us on 0808 2222037. In the alternative, you can call us on 0818 222 2205. You can also send us a WhatsApp message and we will be glad to read. My guest is Amadine Uyi, who is the Abuja Bureau Chief of News Central. Yes, we have a caller here. Let's see. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, go ahead, we can hear you. Hello, good. Yes? Your line is breaking, we can barely hear you. Oh, okay. I think we lost that. I think there's something wrong with this line. The number to call is 0903 222 9797. You can also call us on 0818 222 2205 and 0808 22 22037. Any of these numbers, you can call us, or you can also send us a WhatsApp message. We are taking a look at, let's try it again. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, Amadine, maybe we just leave the phone lines for a while and look at the issues. Now, Amadine, monetization of the process. I'm sure that this is nothing new to you, especially on election days. A lot goes on before election, but on election days, sometimes these things are becoming something else. Ekiti, you spoke about Ekiti, spoke about Osun. These were apparent in Ekiti and Osun. Do you think it's going to be different next February?
I think that is one problem we have not been able to. We've not been able to devise a way to tackle it. There's no modus operandi to tackle it because it's very difficult, especially when it comes to vote buying and vote selling. That is vote trading. It's very difficult because the bulk of even vote buying and selling does not even happen at the polling station or polling unit. You know, when I was in Ekiti, something happened. The police, I think the EFCC, because the last election, the EFCC even had to deploy personnel, and they saw a man with a list of names, and he was picked up. But we began to ask questions that how certain were you that he was buying those people's votes? Because it might be the people he had reached out to to come and vote. So he would write those that assured him that they would vote for his candidate, so that he could follow them up on election day. So you see, it's the line is not very clear how to tackle it. And someone told me when I was in Ekiti that there's a certain house where after you vote, you go there and then you are paid. How do you know? How sure are you? Some other people said that some people are even paid before the election day. But I think in all, we have been why we have been able to tackle it is because we have really been serious. Let's even look at financing of political parties. I will not say I'm very certain the clause that has to do with financing with the new Electoral Act, but I was with the former Electoral Act, which gives a maximum amount of money for an individual to donate to a political party. Since Nigeria, since the advent of this republic, how many people have obeyed it? When the clause says that for you that you cannot donate more than 1.5 million to a presidential candidate, and we see people donating 500 million, nobody talks about it. The electoral body is burdened with the work of trying to ensure that the polls are free, fair, and credible. So to even begin to monitor political parties, it does not have the expertise, it does not have the personnel.
Capacity.
Yeah, so what we are saying is, if a law is good enough to be placed in an act, therefore we should be ready to be able to, we should put modalities in place to be able to enforce it. Because once you enforce from the beginning, I said it before, once there is deterrent, it will die a natural death. But when people believe that they can break the law and nothing happens, then you should be ready for a jolly coaster ride where you see several people will now begin to break the law and insist it is their right to break the law. So now when you are talking about vote trading, you are talking about money politics. The presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party a few days ago, he said something. He said if you remove money from politics, you see more women participate. So you see, even money politics is even affecting us, and this thing limiting women participation in politics from his own statement. So money politics is something we need to really tackle. A few years ago, the not too young act was signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari, but how many Nigerian youths can come out to say, with the way politics is practiced, he can come out for governorship, for a governor of his state, or he can come out for the president of Nigeria? Do you even have the capacity to be able to go around your local government as a youth? Talk less of. So that money politics is a problem. I think in advanced democracies like the US, what the politicians do is that no matter how much you have, you cannot even spend your own money in an election. You have to resort to your followers to contribute to your party for you to be able to run a campaign. Because if the government sees that you have put in a certain amount of money into your own campaign, it becomes a criminal offense.
All right, Ahmadine, there's so much to talk about when it's election and when one is also speaking to a journalist is on the field. But there is not much time for that. Ahmadine, just as we close, in 60 seconds, if you may, what are your expectations ahead of the elections?
I expect a free, fair, and credible election. But I also expect Nigerians, and I will appeal to them, come out and participate in the process. Because when you don't participate in the process, you are among those who are frustrating the process and every arrangement that has been put in place, and you are contributing to the election not being free, fair, and credible. No matter your bias, no matter what, it's a civic duty and a civic responsibility to participate in the elections.
Well, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Ahmadine Uyi, Abuja Bureau Chief for News Central. Thank you for your interventions.
Thank you, Lawrence.
And also Victor Sin Agbense, although we lost him at a point on the program, but thank you so much, Victor Sin, for being our guest today. That's the package on Insight today. The program returns tomorrow at 11 o'clock, news on the hour, and immediately after that, Mina is standing by for her program. My name is Lawrence Umoette. do have a beautiful day ahead.